Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming to you guys with my monthly TV recap for the month of August. Alright, so it's been a little bit since I've done one of these monthly recap videos, kind of just discussing some of the shows I've been watching recently, maybe some of my favorite moments in them, kind of my overall thoughts on some series, and also what I'm looking forward to as well. That's a big part of this, and also love hearing your guys' thoughts on what you're looking forward to. It gives me some ideas of what to check out, and also what you guys are checking out as well, in these months. Really love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. And so that's what this kind of series has become. So the last recap I think was for May, but I technically went a little bit over, into June a little bit, halfway into June. So anything that was included in that one will be there, and then anything after that point to basically today is going to be included in this recap. So this is kind of the de facto summer recap, if you will. Because, it's going to be June, July, and August, so I figured, why not just wait? I was going to do this maybe earlier in August, and I'm thinking, no, I'll just wait, and I'll just do the whole summer of what I've been watching, there are a few new shows here, but the majority of the stuff I've been watching has actually been in throwback series, if you will, or, kind of older ones that are new to me, but have been released, years ago, many years ago in some cases, for a couple of these. So anyways, we'll go over all that. I'll kind of go, one by one down all the shows I watched, kind of give my thoughts on them, and then we'll end off, of course, with what I'm looking forward to in the fall, which is looking very promising. I will say I kind of called this. I said that towards the beginning of the year, I said, I don't think we're quite going to see, all these kind of returning shows and all these, really stellar, shows that are coming back until the fall, or at least until the second half of the year. And that's really rung true, because a lot of shows are coming in the fall that I'm really looking forward to, a couple just in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to mention those, like I said, love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you're looking forward to in the fall, or even just for the whole rest of the year at this point, because there's only about 4 months left. Crazy that there's only 4 months left. It's gone insanely fast, or at least for me. And also, what have you guys been watching this summer? Love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. I know there are some new series that have been pretty popular, and I have missed a couple of them, so I would like to hear your guys' thoughts if you have checked some of those out, and maybe I'll check them out then on a good recommendation. So anyways, if you enjoy this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel as well. Would really appreciate that. And really appreciate the support lately on the channel. I think we're at 800 subscribers, something like that we've hit. So really appreciate that as well. But without any further ado, I guess we'll get into kind of the recap here, and I'll start off with the shows that I watched in the summer of 2021. So we have 9 shows in total here, and the total episodes is at 105. So by far the biggest total I've had, but this is also from 2.5 months, so obviously it's going to be up there. And as you'll see, the majority of these actually come from one show in particular, and I'll get to that. So first off, the first show on the list is Hacks Season 1. And so I did, the last recap video, I had watched 2 episodes, I believe, or at least that's what I've kind of counted in that last recap. So this will give me 8 left, because it was a 10-episode first season. So I'll watch the rest of the Season 1. And I think my thoughts are very preliminary, at the last recap, and I said, it's good. It's not, great, but it's a little bit better than maybe what I thought it would be. I also kind of said that it really wasn't my kind of genre. First of all, I don't really watch a lot of comedies, although I've been watching more and more recently. But I don't watch a lot of comedies, and it's just the whole kind of Hollywood angle and the stand-up comic stuff, that just didn't really resonate with me as much. And I will say, after seeing the whole rest of the season, I do still kind of think that. I think that the show just isn't for me totally, right? But I will say there are some really good moments in the rest of the season here. I think the finale is particularly strong. I really liked what they did there. And yeah, there's one episode here, and again, I don't really want to spoil too much with these, kind of recaps or discussions of these shows. But there's one episode where they kind of, I guess, Ava, played by Hannah Einbinder, right, and Jean Smart, obviously. I mean, Jean Smart is just fantastic. And so, obviously, they were both nominated for Emmys, which is also awesome. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about that with some of these shows as well. But, so there's that one episode where Ava is kind of on vacation, I guess, if you will, or staying at a hotel, and she meets this guy. Anyways, that episode is my favorite of the season. I think it's really strong. And I just think there's a lot of good comedy in that episode and that kind of storyline there, which I think kind of tails off towards the end of the season. So, again, some stronger points at some points, and some lower points at others, but I think they can really polish this for a season 2, and they have been renewed for a season 2, and so I think they can really polish this, though I will say I'm not sure how far this story can go. I think maybe 2 or 3 seasons would be the max here. I have a feeling they're probably going to stretch it out if they can, but Jean Smart might pull the plug early as well, who knows. But yeah, so overall, just I enjoyed some of it not as much, but it definitely was a little bit better than what I thought it would be. I knew that we were going to get a great performance from Jean Smart, but I'm kind of looking at Hannah Einbinder and the rest of the cast, and these aren't real notable names. I mean, maybe some people know them from other kind of comedies and other little kind of bit parts. But to me, I didn't really know much of the cast. And I also didn't know the creators that much, the writers. And so I didn't have really high hopes, but I will say I was pretty impressed by this one. And again, I think if it was more up my alley, I would have really enjoyed this a lot more. And I can definitely see why some people really love the show. It was great. And it was also my first HBO Max original show, I guess, that I watched. I still don't quite understand that whole concept of it's a HBO Max original, and then now they have HBO originals, and I don't know. It's very confusing to me, but it was okay. I thought it was good, and it looked like they still had quite a bit of a budget for this show as well. So it's not like it's kind of my kind of original thought was that would be kind of like a discount HBO kind of thing, and I guess it is to an extent. But I was still really impressed with the kind of overall quality of the show. I thought it was still really great. So, anyways, that is Hacks Season 1, the rest of the season there towards the end of it. All right. So next one is Kevin Can Fuck Himself, Season 1, or I guess F star K, whatever, right? Because they can't say the word in the title. But yeah, so Kevin Can Fuck Himself, and I only watched the first episode. So I only watched the premiere of this one, and I didn't continue after that. I guess that kind of spoils my thoughts on it. But I actually really I was really intrigued by the concept here, right? So the concept is that, and it did kind of look a little weird, right, from the trailer and seeing kind of the just the kind of the way it looked from the teasers, the trailer, and just kind of the overall marketing of the show. It looked a little weird, and it certainly is. It's this concept of this sitcom wife, and so half of the show is filmed in this sitcom, which is, I guess, a double camera, right? Multi-camera sitcom, and it's actually filmed and looks exactly like a sitcom, and then the rest of the show is this single camera, right, and it's a drama, and so I really like the concept, and I think it's actually really inventive, really unique and original, but I just am not quite sure about the execution here. I think the concept, because it's so strong and because I really appreciate what they were trying to do, I just think they could have used it in a much better way. And I also think that it could have been interesting if they actually broke it in this first episode. And I have read some stuff that they do break it eventually, as the season goes on. And it has been renewed for a season 2 now, so we'll have to see where that goes. But I would have liked maybe even if they broke at the end of this first episode, they broke that sitcom thing and then kind of just continued on with the story just being the single camera. I don't know. I just feel like they could have used this concept better. Because it does seem kind of disjointed. I don't know. I just thought I was really intrigued at the first half of this episode. I'm like, okay, they're setting up some sort of twist here with the sitcom and this. And it didn't really end up being like that. It was just kind of, that's what it was. And so, yeah, just a little confused. Annie Murphy, absolutely an excellent performance in this one. Just the first episode was great. Her emotions here, just from going to the comedic side for the sitcom, and then all the whole other side of it, and being that kind of emotional, kind of darker, feeling. There for her character, and I thought she did that really well. So I also think the guy who actually plays Kevin, I really actually thought some of those sitcom moments were kind of funny, and not in a way that it's that they were really trying to. Obviously, I think it's funny in a way because of we know that it's not a sitcom, right? And so it's kind of the playing on Annie Murphy's character and being in that situation, right? And I guess it's also I just think some of the sitcom moments are very obviously very very similar to actual real sitcoms, something like King of Queens, right? Like I've seen some stuff as well, people writing about it, that some of these moments actually in the sitcom elements are very very similar, like drawing exactly kind of on moments of in Kings and Queens and other shows like that, with Kevin James comes to mind. And maybe that's a coincidence, maybe it's not, about the Kevin character. But anyways, I thought some of the sitcom moments were pretty powerful. I just don't think they used the concept well enough. And I don't know. I just don't know how this goes on for more than one season. I didn't even know how it would go on for more than one episode. So we'll have to see how season 2 is. Maybe I might finish this season. Maybe, before season 2 comes out, kind of catch up. We'll have to see. But either way, Annie Murphy, definitely the highlight of this one. Really great job there. So those are my thoughts on Kevin Can Fuck Himself season 1. Just the premiere. So another one I just checked out the premiere of was the White Lotus season 1 on HBO, and this one also has been renewed. I can't stand, I'm not going to go on a rant here, but I can't stand these limited series, advertise a limited series. That's how it's marketed. That's how the whole trailer is shown and all that stuff, right? And then they just renew it for season 2. And then it's kind of becoming this anthology, limited series thing. And I don't know. I'm not impressed by it. I just don't really like it. And that's the thing. I would be fine if it was a multi-season show, right? But come out of the gates with that, right? Instead of this limited series, and then we're gonna do a season 2, and Your Honor has just been renewed for season 2 lately. I cannot believe that. Mayor of Easttown, they're talking about a season 2. Like any limited series that does well for any of these channels, networks, or HBO cable provider, whatever. Any limited series that does well, now they just renew it. And so, anyways, that's happened with White Lotus. This first episode for season 1. I don't know. I was just kind of mixed on it. I thought some of the comedy kind of landed, but overall I didn't really think that it was that funny. And besides the comedy, I just couldn't figure out what the point of this was. And I think a lot of people are kind of analyzing this as social commentary on class structure and that kind of thing. But I just don't see that in that. Like, obviously, I see it. I just don't really appreciate that. I don't think this series, I think Mike White is the writer and director. I don't really think he's making any, kind of unique or, kind of influential comment on this. Like, it's kind of obvious that it's a class structure and these rich people are going to this hotel. It just seems like really obvious to me, and I don't know. So there's kind of two elements of it. There's the comedy and the kind of the social commentary, which people find really strong, and I didn't really buy into either. Again, I thought some moments were funny. Really liked the cast though, right? Alexander Daddario, who else do we have? Steve Zahn. Love Steve Zahn and pretty much anything he's in. Really like Steve Zahn a lot. Connie Britton, right? And Sydney Sweeney, right? I think from Euphoria. And so I really like the cast, and I think they really give some good performances here. But I just don't know. I just kind of felt like a hangout show that was trying to be funny, but it didn't really work on me. And then the commentary just didn't really land for me either. So just kind of a mixed feeling for this one. Some things I liked, most things I didn't like. And so I just didn't really look into this one after the premiere. I did kind of find it kind of weird from the offset as well. I just wasn't sure if I was going to check it out. So I think I kind of went in with my kind of expectations pretty low. And that's, I didn't really end up much higher than that. So anyways, those are my thoughts on the White Lotus. I know a lot of people really enjoyed it. And to me, I just didn't really connect with it the same way. So that's what it is. Next up, we have The North Water. This is what I really wanted to talk about, and I just actually finished the finale of this a couple days ago, so I was a little late on it, but I really wanted to finish the whole series so I could talk about the entire thing here for this recap. And man, was this an impressive series. So this is obviously so many the Terror comparisons, right? Terror season 1, I am, looking to put together kind of a top 25 or maybe top 15 TV shows of all time, or kind of counting down like seasons and stuff. The Terror season 1, I think, would be there. I haven't confirmed that and all that, but for me, the Terror season 1 is really special, really special. And so right when I saw this, it's an AMC kind of, limited series about, the Arctic and these guys going on this expedition again. And it's like, oh my God, right? Like this is the Terror part 2. And it delivered. It really did. Now, I will say, I think I like the Terror a little bit better than this one. I think the writing of the Terror is a little bit better. I think the performances, to a degree, are better. But I also think that this one, it was only 5 episodes and the Terror was 10. So I think we had a lot more time with those characters, and I think that, series was more about those characters, I would say, and kind of, following them through the journey. And this one was obviously about those characters, but also just kind of the atmosphere of this one, and really building that kind of environment. And again, I think the Terror did that, but a little bit to a lesser extent. But anyways, overall, I think the Terror is still a little bit better, but man, was this one really great. The cinematography here, it really felt like you were watching, an hour-long movie each week here. Like, I don't know. And this was I think a co-production between BBC and then AMC picked it up. So I'm not sure if AMC actually funded it or not, or, that was part of the budget, but like this just looks so great, so aesthetically pleasing here. And the performances, amazing. I said, performance in the Terror were a little bit better, but Jack O'Connell, so great in this. Obviously, he's coming off Godless, or that's at least the last thing I've seen him in. Absolutely excellent performance in that show. And Colin Farrell, oh my goodness, like barely recognizable in this role as Henry Drax, and man, is he amazing in this. Like, this is, to me, this, if you were to compare this, especially like that movie thing I said, it feels like a movie. This really feels like a Jared Leto performance, right? In some of his movies where he does this really big transformation. He's just kind of this off the wall kind of maniac kind of character. And that's what Colin Farrell does here. Really impressive. Colin Farrell, I thought in True Detective season 2, some people, really didn't like his performance. I thought he did an amazing job in that. And this was a really great follow-up to that for me, at least for Colin Farrell. So yeah, really great series. I think the finale does suffer a little bit from pacing. I think they could have even had another episode here and kind of, really took their time with that ending. I think it might have been a little bit better, might have landed a little bit better. But I think up to that point, I think episode 1 to 4, I think, are really strong. Not perfect, so, some parts of it could have been a little bit better, I think, but nearly perfect. I mean, really great. It's just that ending that maybe brings it down a little bit. But yeah, really, really awesome series, and just a really great, thing to just tune into every week and have this kind of treat of this cinematography, this direction, just a beautiful thing. And I did do some research, and they filmed this on location. They were in the north of Norway, I believe, and filmed this series. So up there, and they actually stayed on a ship. So just an insane way to film this, kind of like a James Cameron approach to the production of this series. But it really paid off. And even watching it, I could tell, I'm like, because the Terror in parts, I don't know, it does look very real. They did a really good job with it. But when you look into it, they were just in a studio, right? And there's a big green screen and they're on a ship. This one, it really looks like they were there. And I was like, did they film this on location? Turns out they did, and I think it really paid off because it looks really excellent. So really great job there with the North Water, and I think this was Andrew Haig, if that's how you pronounce. We're looking forward to what he does next because this was really great. He wrote and directed all the episodes here, and I really enjoyed it. I think his directing's a little bit stronger, so I'd really like to see what he could bring to another series of just directing. Man, really looking forward to that. Him and Johan Rank are kind of two of my, really anticipating their kind of next things that they're doing. Johan Rank after Chernobyl, of course, which was an amazing direction as well. So, those are kind of my thoughts on the North Water. Really impressed by it. And, obviously those terror comparisons are going to be brought up forever. But really a great show and definitely stands on its own as well. Really great. All right, so the next one up here is Reservation Dogs Season 1, and I've only seen the first 2 episodes of this one. I'm a little bit behind on this one. I think they're up to episode 5 now. So for next recap, I'll definitely, finish up the season, hopefully it should be done by next recap next month. So I'll definitely catch up and finish the season there. But yeah, only 2 episodes so far of this one, and I have to say, I'm pretty impressed by it. My kind of expectations were a little bit low going into this one. Originally kind of high, because obviously Taika Waititi's involved, and I can't not watch a Taika Waititi, show, movie, whatever he chooses to do. I'm a huge supporter of him. Jojo Rabbit, probably my favorite film of the year in 2019. Obviously, What We Do in the Shadows, huge fan of the show and the movie, and I just really like his comedy style. Him and Jermaine Clement, I just really, really appreciate their comedy, and I really get it, and I really enjoy it. So, obviously I had to check this one out, but my expectations were a little lowered because I heard a lot of people saying, yeah, it doesn't really feel like a Taika Waititi show, and kind of, the writing isn't quite, up to that same level. And so, yeah, going into it, I was a little bit kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, really? Like, I kind of had high expectations for this. But I will say I was pretty impressed by it. I thought the first episode, I actually think the second episode's a little bit stronger than the first. The second episode was written by Sterling Harjo. I think that's how you pronounce his name. It was written by him alone. And I thought it was actually made better than the episode that was co-wrote between him and Taika Waititi. And so I will say I'm a little bit concerned that Taika Waititi won't be as involved with this show as it maybe seems. I think he's maybe kind of attaching his name to get this series some popularity, some viewers, and it definitely worked. I mean, I probably wouldn't have checked out the show if it wasn't for his name, right? So I definitely understand it. I get the approach. I'm just not sure how involved he's going to be, especially because he's so busy. He's directing Thor, Love and Thunder. I think that just wrapped. He's done Next Goal Wins, his upcoming film, all this stuff. So he's a busy guy, and he's also withdrawn from What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series as well. I do appreciate that he's kind of attaching his name, though I am a little worried that he won't be as involved going forward. So I'll have to see what that kind of plays into with the rest of the season and whether renewal comes or not. It's also on FX on Hulu, right? It's kind of like that kind of thing. So I'm not sure if that might impact its renewal chances as well. Anyways, we'll have to see. That's a little bit, down the road. But yeah, I was really impressed by these first 2 episodes. I think the comedy really lands at points. And I also think it's kind of emotional at other times, right? And also, I guess kind of in the background of this one, too, is that I think all of the writer and directors are Indigenous, either Indigenous Americans. I guess Taika Waititi's from New Zealand. And I think there might be some Canadians as well in there. So that's kind of the background. And I think the majority of the cast and the crew as well. So that's kind of the background, and that's just impressive kind of in its own right. But I also think that the writing is actually pretty good. I think the performances are pretty good. Devery Jacobs I've seen in a couple things before. Cardinal, that TV show I've seen her in. And she plays Alora in this, and I think she's really great. And I also think the actor who plays Bear is also really great. So yeah, I just really like kind of what they're going for here. Again, little concerned about the future of this one. We'll have to see. I'll check out a few more episodes. But as of now, really quite impressed with this. I really quite like it so far, and I definitely recommend it. I think the second episode might be a little stronger. So my recommendation would be watch the first episode, but then come back for the second one, because I think that one might be a little bit, might land for more people than maybe what the first episode did. But yeah, some really great kind of laugh out loud moments, I have to say, in these first couple episodes. And yeah, really impressed by this one. So really great stuff there. All right, so now to my kind of throwback collection of all these shows that I watched. The first one is Band of Brothers. So this is one that I've been wanting to watch for a long time. I mean, at least 4 or 5 years. Honestly, before I watched this one, I've heard of it for a long time. Spielberg, Tom Hanks involved, after Saving Private Ryan. I guess some people kind of call this maybe a sequel or something like that. To that movie, and I think that was made in the 90s, and then this comes along in 2000. So really impressive series. I think for a lot of people this would be in their top 10. A lot of people talk about best TV shows of all time. This would probably be in that list, I think, for a lot of people, and for me included. I just thought this was really impressive, even just beyond the writing and the performances, that kind of thing. Just on a technical level, just spectacular stuff. Many moments, but one of the moments that comes to mind, I think, was in episode 2, and I saw this and I was just so impressed, just so taken aback by this. And it's that scene where they're parachuting out of the planes and they're just in the sky, and it's like, wow, like you don't even get that kind of visual and that kind of level of cinematography, I guess, direction. You just don't get that kind of technical quality in a lot of movies anymore either. Like, it's just so impressive that they were able to do this. And I know the budget was like massive for each episode. I think maybe rivaling what the Game of Thrones did in season 8, which was like considered, insane. But yeah, the budget really shows in this. Really impressive. One of my other favorite parts of this was recognizing all of the actors here. Like, this was just such an amazing thing, because now, of course, this was made in 2000. I've watched so many shows from the 2010s and on, right? And there's just so many actors that have been in shows that I love in these recent years that obviously, one of their first prominent roles was in Band of Brothers. And so it's just really great. Obviously, Damian Lewis from Billions, he was so good in this series. Really great. Neil McDonough. I mean, I could go on, right? What's his name? Roy Livingston or Ron Livingston. Really great job. Michael Cudlitz for The Walking Dead. He was absolutely great in this one. Who else? I mean, there's just so many. Garnier, the actor who plays him, I've seen in many other things now. Just a lot of really great actors and just a really great ensemble, of all these characters and these performances. Just really great. And the authenticity here was just so spectacular. The way that they really tried to get this as accurate as possible. While they could have dramatized it in some, some parts of the series, but they really they really chose not to, and that's what makes this so effective, especially in those kind of episodes where they're just waiting there, they're trapped in the forest, for example, and these, bombs are coming in, they're just being bombarded, and it's still very silent. There's no, like, big action music and, making this all dramatized. It's this very silent, very quiet moment, and then boom, and it's just so realistic to what it would be like, rather than some of these, movies, with these war movies where it's just, again, so overly dramatized and just, building up this tension that wasn't really there. Just such a really great authentic look at what this must have been like. And I'm sure obviously it doesn't capture quite to the extent of what it was, but to the best of what it could be, I think. Really excellent job. here with Band of Brothers. I will say a couple episodes towards the end of the series did kind of drag for me a little bit. And one of the episodes I really didn't like. I think it was episode 7. That one I just really didn't like. It was kind of, it was a narration, and it was following a character that I really didn't, I wasn't really interested in that much. And I thought it was a little bit, again, I like this authenticity stuff, and that one I felt like was a little too far-fetched. It was just a little too cliche for my liking. But other than that one episode, and then a couple at the end of the series, where they kind of, lingered a little bit, kind of, they were a little bit kind of too much, packed onto it. I really think this would have been a bit stronger had it just been 8 episodes. Really, really would have been, really great, because you could have kind of packed that stuff in at the end in maybe an episode or two, the last 3 episodes kind of put into an episode or two, and I think that would have been even stronger. But overall, easily one of my top, TV shows of all time. This miniseries, so impressive, and just so good. So, there you go. And then obviously after watching that, I had to watch The Pacific, which is kind of the follow-up. Again, a Spielberg, Tom Hanks thing. And a lot of the same writers and directors, did The Pacific then. And I guess it was 10 years later, though. It was 2010 that they did The Pacific. And then, of course, they have Masters of the Air, right? I think coming up soon. And I'm not sure when that's coming out. I guess 2022 probably. Look forward to that one as well. We'll have to check that one out as well. So, The Pacific, I don't know. I saw some people that actually like it a little bit better than Band of Brothers. I'm not in that camp. I think Band of Brothers is quite a bit better. Pacific, I thought still had some really great moments. Of course, Rami Malek, so good in this series. And then obviously, the kid from Jurassic Park is in this. I'm forgetting his name right now. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he is absolutely excellent as well, as the main guy here, Eugene Sledge. Really, really great. And again, I think this one, because it only follows 3 characters, it's less of this kind of ensemble, this kind of brotherly, dynamic with all these characters. It's just a different approach to it, and I just didn't really like it as much. I also thought the writing wasn't quite as good, even though it was the same writers here. I don't know. I just think the material maybe wasn't as great, or maybe, as in depth. And so maybe some of these writers, maybe struggled in some elements where they didn't in Band of Brothers because of that. But anyway, some really, really great scenes here. Obviously, it's a different war. It's a different experience as well. And so I think that plays into it. It's a little bit more darker, I would say, if that's possible, than Band of Brothers. It's a little darker. But again, I just feel like some of these episodes, I think it's like episode 3 in particular, just really wasn't interested. It's this kind of like romance episode, and there's like no fighting, and they just kind of abandon the war a little bit. And I just really didn't find myself caring enough about these characters. At that point, at least. Towards the end, yes. But in the beginning, I don't know. I just felt like they could have made that a little bit better. I do appreciate that they were taking a different approach to it. I did recognize that. I just don't think it worked as well as Band of Brothers. Though I will say, again, on a technical level, really impressive stuff. Especially, I think it's episode 8 or 9 with the big kind of battle there. I think it's maybe episode 9, where they have that big, battle episode, kind of, and a really big fight going on. Really impressive stuff there on a technical level, cinematography, direction, even the performances there, and obviously the stunts and all the stuff that goes into something like that. Really impressive stuff, and just a really good job overall. With that one for the Pacific. So yeah, some really strong elements, and some really, stuff that even, is close to Band of Brothers, maybe even on the same level. But just overall as a series, I just don't think it's as strong. Though I do say, I just want to mention that, is that the finale of this one, though, I really liked. And I really liked what they were kind of going for there with Eugene and his kind of recovery after the war. And that's something I didn't see in Band of Brothers, which I thought might have been actually a little bit better had they shown that. So that's one thing maybe that is a little bit better than Band of Brothers. But yeah, that's kind of my my thoughts on the Pacific there, as a follow-up to the Band of Brothers miniseries. All right, so next up is going to be Justified. So this one, I've watched season 1 to season 5, so I'm almost, well, I guess over halfway through season 5, and there's only 6 seasons, so I'm really close to the end of this one. And this is amounts to about 60 episodes of Justified that I've watched in the last couple of months as part of this wrap up. Yeah, really enjoy this show. This is one that I've heard about for a while. Mainly because of Walton Goggins. Actually, he's one of my favorite actors on TV today. Him, Jared Harris. I mean, pretty close. Like, really enjoy Walton Goggins. Obviously, in Vice Principals, that's kind of where I saw him first. He's been in The Shield, of course. Six. What else have I? Obviously, he's been in Righteous Gemstones lately. Danny McBride's kind of follow up to Vice Principals. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other stuff. Anyways, he's been in a lot of things. He's also in Unicorn, I think, right now. But anyways, he is, I guess, kind of a supporting character in Justified, but kind of a de facto main character. Him and, of course, Timothy Oliphant, who plays Raylan, are kind of the two, leads of Justified. And man, what a great show! Really is. And I've heard a lot of good things about season 2 of the show, and a lot of people say season 2 is one of their favorite seasons of TV ever. And I've seen a lot of people say that, so I thought I'm gonna check this one out. Why not? I'll watch the show. And for Walton Goggins, and obviously I really like Timothy Oliphant too. He's really great. Deadwood is definitely a show that I want to check out next because he's in that one as well. Him and Ian McShane, I believe. So anyways, wow. Blown away by the second season as well. Now, I will say, the first season, it really does feel kind of like a network procedural, right? Season 1, and parts of the show in all seasons feel that way, I think. But when it really reaches its highs is when it's not in that procedural mode, when it's really just following this serialized story. And it is honestly one of the best shows for characters and for dialogue. Like the way that these characters are written, and just the way, like, really, right, it's like in the things they say, in the way they look, in the way they act, and obviously the performances are really great as well in these characters. There's just, honestly, like, there's probably more than 10 characters here, like, I guess would you call them side characters or supporting characters, that are easily in, like, the best of any TV show I've ever seen. Just really excellent stuff, and just some really great guest performances as well. Like I said, with Band of Brothers, recognizing a lot of actors. Well, you do recognize a lot of actors in Justified as well that, have went on to have really great careers, and I've seen them in a lot of stuff since. And this show ended in 2015, so it ran from 2010 to 2015. Kind of, I guess, a peak, if you will, of TV, right? Because that's like Breaking Bad, Mad Men, time there. Boardwalk Empire, Believe, is on at that point. What else do we have? I don't know. There's a lot of other ones as well during that time, and I think some people kind of consider that the peak, but just a really excellent show so far, and I'm really liking season 5 as well. A lot of people have said that's the weakest season. I don't see that quite yet. I haven't seen the ending of it yet, but we'll have to see, how that goes. But yeah, season 2 for sure, though, is the standout. Season 3 I really liked. Neil McDonough was great in season 3, kind of the focus of that one. Season 4 I thought was a little bit of a disappointment in my opinion. But yeah, season 2, absolutely excellent stuff. Margot Martindale as well won the Emmy for season 2. Really great. Timothy Oliphant deserved the nomination, but I think he deserved the win for Emmy for that year. So did Walton Goggins. He got nominated too. Jeremy Davies, excellent performance from him. Damon Harriman in this one as well. I know him from Mindhunter, but man, this was kind of like one of his first things, and he is so great. Just everybody in the show is just so great. The writers get better and better, I would say. Some of the writers that start off, writing one or writing kind of an off episode in season 1 or 2. By season 5 now, we're at season 5, like, all of these guys, you can kind of see them progressing through the seasons of the show and as they write more. And, now their episodes are some of the best of the series, in my opinion. So just a really excellent show so far. Really enjoying it. And yeah, I mean, it might be in my top 10 TV shows of all time. Obviously, there's going to be some recency bias there, but Yeah, really, really impressed by this one, and definitely rivals some of my other favorites of all time. It really does. Like, no, it's not, perfect. It is an FX show. It's not kind of an HBO. It doesn't have the same quality as a Sopranos, or even as a Breaking Bad, I would say, or a Mad Men, that kind of thing. But for what it is, and that's the thing that a lot of people I think should recognize if they are going to watch this, you got to go into it knowing that it's a network show to a degree, right? FX, but it's a network kind of show. Some elements are going to be the procedural, majority though is the serialized nature of it. And so if you go in with that, for a show like it's, at its kind of caliber, it is really impressive. It's easily the best for its procedural elements. It's easily the best procedural show that I've seen, by far. I mean, it's so great in the way that it does that, and just takes a really unique approach to a lot of these things as well. And just the story in itself is kind of unique, and the settings that they explore, the characters that they explore, and they do it actually with kind of some authenticity there. It's not just this making fun of the rednecks and all that stuff. It is some of that authenticity and really adds to those characters. And I think a lot of the performances are really, taken seriously too. It's not just, and obviously the comedy works really well too, but it's not always just that comedic thing. It is really kind of taking that seriously. And Walton Goggins probably the best example of that with his performance of Boyd Crowder. And I have to say, Boyd Crowder, one of the best characters I've ever seen on TV. Excellent stuff there for Justified. So really glad I checked that out, and then I'll kind of let you guys know, I guess, on the ending. I've heard it has one of the best series finales ever. That's what I've heard from some people, and even some people that weren't huge fans of the last season. So sounds like the very end of the series is really great. Breaking Bad obviously takes the cake for me on that one, but we'll have to see where that comes in for sure, maybe in next month's recap. So there you go. And then the last show here is Mad Men. So I watched a few episodes of this, 8 episodes, got into season 2 now of that one. I thought the end of season 1 was really strong for Mad Men. Nixon versus Kennedy following that kind of election. I really enjoyed that storyline. I really like when they take these real events, obviously that I'm not too familiar with, because of, took place in the 60s. But I know about them, right? And so then seeing them just, portrayed in the show or depicted in the show with these fictional characters, I just really like that. I really like that kind of approach to it. And I really like that kind of Nixon Kennedy stuff at the end of season 1. And I really like what they've done in season 2 so far. I'm only, I think, 3 episodes into season 2, but really enjoy it. Really do enjoy it. And I really like, obviously, the flight that went down. That's kind of the start of season 2. And I just think that it's a really powerful show when it gets to that point, when it kind of depicts these real life events and shows that and really captures the period well. Obviously, that's one of its greatest strengths. But overall, I don't know. I still don't quite see what some people see in this show. It's just not... It's impressive as hell, right? It's just again, them capturing that period. Some of these performances are just excellent. But I just don't know. I don't know that the writing is quite there for me. I'm not sure that it's reached its peak, though, either at this point. I've heard season 3 and season 4 is kind of the peak of the show, and it gets really, really good in season 3. And Jared Harris will be on in that in season 3 too. Really look forward to that. But yeah, so I am really kind of persevering here through these first first couple seasons here, to get to hopefully the peak of it, and then kind of see what I think. Of the highest highs, I guess, of the show when I get to that point. But yeah, I don't know, just haven't seen, I guess, what other people are seeing so far with this one, and I'm all for kind of the slow burn, the character study, character development type of thing. I just don't think the writing is as strong as some other shows that do that really well, like Better Call Saul, I guess, comes to mind, as an example. So anyways, those are just kind of my thoughts on Mad Men so far. Impressed in some parts, kind of disappointed in others, but we'll have to see kind of what the future holds and what I can see in season 2. So what I've been doing is Mad Men I watch, every few nights, once a week or, a couple times a week. Justified I'm watching almost every day, trying to kind of get through that series. And then when I get through that, hopefully I'll get to Mad Men, kind of pick that up a little bit more, get into that, and hopefully kind of really get invested in that going into season 3. So anyways, those are all my thoughts on all the TV that I watched in the summer of 2021. 105 total episodes there. And, obviously we have some more to go. Reservation Dogs going to finish that one up. And yeah, but other than that, I guess all of these shows are kind of concluded. So next recap should be a lot of new things coming out as well. So on that topic, let's get to that. So for the fall, what am I looking forward to? Man, it's looking like a really good fall. And I mean really good. Like, this might be better than even some of the previous years where we didn't have what's going on right now. So, obviously, first off, like I said, finish Reservation Dogs Season 1. I'll watch the 6 episodes left of that season when it finishes up. And hopefully then next month I can talk about the rest of the season and what my thoughts are on that. The Walking Dead Season 11. I'm still a little bit behind on Season 10C. I think I have a couple episodes now left to watch, including Here's Negan. Really looking forward to that one. So season 11 of The Walking Dead, definitely looking forward to that. Obviously the last season, and I'm still not sure exactly what the schedule is going to be because they're going to have 3 parts of the season, right? So there's going to be 3 8-episode parts of it, and I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with that. I'm not sure if we're going to have to wait till next fall to see the last 8 episodes, or if they're going to do that in the summer next year. I'm really not sure, and I don't think they even know yet. So we'll have to see what that one holds, but at least we get 8 episodes here in the fall. It's already started. I think we're already at episode 2 this week. And so, we'll get more episodes here in the fall, and then we'll kind of pick back up like usual in February, I would assume, with the second part. So yeah, really looking forward to that one as well. Really got to see Rick in the end of this season. But yeah, really have some high hopes for that. And obviously I'm not as, invested in it. It's one of my favorite series of all time. Maybe my, second or third, best, or kind of most, subjectively, my favorite episode, or my favorite, TV series of all time, up there. But yeah, just recently, ever since Rick left, Andrew Lincoln left, hasn't been as high for me, but definitely want to take a look at it after all this time. I got to finish it out, and I got to watch the last season here, and I've heard some great things about it so far. So really looking forward to that one. Then we have What We Do in the Shadows, Season 3, and this one's coming in less than a week. It's coming up next week on Thursday, September 2nd, I think. Really looking forward to What We Do in the Shadows Season 3, and for me it actually hasn't been as long as some others because I only watched Season 2 I think in February of this year, so it actually hasn't been as long. For some people it's been a year and a half since they watched Season 2, but really enjoyed Season 2. I thought it was maybe even better than Season 1. So I'm really looking forward to Season 3 here, and that'll be coming up, like I said, less than a week. So really looking forward to that, and really thankful that it is coming out at this time, and hopefully it'll be even better than Season 2. We'll have to see. I'll definitely share my thoughts on that one in next month's recap then for sure. So then next is American Crime Story Season 3, Impeachment. This one looks interesting. I am a little bit concerned at this one. I'm just not sure what approach they're going to take to it, and I'm not sure if that approach will really lend itself that well to a kind of 10 episode, or I'm not even sure how many episodes, 8 or 10 episode, series or story that they're going to tell here. I'm just a little worried that it's going to be stretched out a little bit too far, and at times it's going to feel really thin. But I am looking forward to it. Beanie Feldstein, I believe, is playing Melanie Lewinsky, which is really interesting, and I'm really happy for her because she's a great actress, and it's great for her, to get a role like that. Really looking forward to that. And yeah, there's some other great members of the cast. I believe Sarah Paulson is in it, right? That's Ryan Murphy's kind of, actress. She's been in a lot of Ryan Murphy projects, and she's absolutely fantastic. She was obviously great in OJ, the O.J. Simpson Season 1 of American Crime Story. So really looking forward to Season 3. Again, a little bit concerned, a little bit kind of weary of what we might get. But I still am looking forward to it. And I think there's a lot of potential there for something really good. But I'm just not sure on what it's going to be. And then also I had to include this one. This one's not coming up in September, and Crime Story is coming up, I think, in the next week or so. Very, very soon. This one's not coming up in September, but it is coming. It's Succession Season 3. It was announced that it's coming out in October. man, am I stoked for this season. Again, a little bit worried because I feel like a lot of shows that have this big success as they did in season 2, winning Best Drama Series and all these Emmys last year, sometimes the show, your expectations are a little high and the writers are kind of just maybe a little bit on this kind of riding this high of being this best show, and sometimes it kind of falls off a little bit in the next season. I've noticed that with some shows recently, but I'm really hoping that season 3 doesn't go that way. I have really high hopes for it. And even if it is not as good as season 2, I mean, it's still going to be probably one of my favorite shows on TV. So really looking forward to Succession, man. Absolutely excellent performance at the Emmys. Fully deserved all the way around. I think they deserved even maybe a little bit more. Really look forward to season 3 though, man. That's going to be so exciting. And hopefully I'll be doing episode reviews. Hopefully I'm going to be doing recap and reviews every week for it. Same with maybe American Crime Story. Depends if I get into that one or not. But yeah, really looking great for the fall. Love to hear what you guys are checking out for the fall as well. What are some shows that you're looking forward to, and any of these interest you at all, or are you going to watch any of these? Love to hear your guys' thoughts either way on that one. But anyways, that'll just about do it then for this video, being my kind of recap for the summer months here of 2021. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it there, and we'll kind of come back next month for my September recap. We'll get back to the monthly, the recap model there for September. Hopefully I have a lot of new shows to talk about. Really excited for that one as well. So yeah, look forward to that one. But anyways, guys, that'll just about do it for this one. So then we'll see you then next month for my monthly TV recap for the month of September.